The story begins with young couple, Matt and Nadia, who've just moved into their new home. The house stands in a completely isolated area. No neighbors, no signs of life, just silence. Tired of the noise and chaos of the city, Matt and Nadia were searching for peace, and they found it here, in this quiet and beautiful house. Surprisingly, Matt got the place for a very low price, but as they walked in, the house looked old, dusty, almost abandoned, as if no one had lived here for years. So, the couple began cleaning. Matt started throwing away useless junk through the window. While cleaning the kitchen, Nadia found a dead bird lying on the floor. She picked it up to bury it outside, but just then, Matt called her from the upstairs window. Nadia looked up for a moment, and when she looked back down, the bird was gone. She froze. The bird had vanished. Completely. A strange chill ran down her spine. Where could it go? She whispered. Meanwhile, Matt noticed something strange on the wall. He peeled off the old wallpaper, and behind it was a door. A large, heavy, locked door. He needed a key. Matt searched everywhere, and finally, in the pile of junk he'd thrown out earlier, he found one. He slid the key into the lock and opened the door. Inside was a pitch-black room. Silent, cold, and unsettling. The moment they stepped inside, the lights in the house began to flicker violently. Something wasn't right. Matt said, "We need to call an electrician. This wiring looks messed up." He left to make the call, leaving Nadia alone near that mysterious room. She hesitated. Should she step in or walk away? A strange fear crept over her, and finally she decided to follow Matt. That night passed quietly. The next morning, Nadia called an electrician. A few hours later, a man arrived to check the lights. As he inspected the wiring, he went down into the basement, and what he saw left him speechless. The entire basement was filled, tangled, with thousands of electric wires. Not a single spot was empty. The man looked confused. "I've never seen anything like this in my life," he said. Still, he somehow managed to fix the flickering lights. But before leaving, he turned to Matt and asked, "Why did you even buy this place?" Then he added, "The previous owner was murdered here, in this very house. Since then, no one's ever dared to live here." Matt froze. Later that night, he began researching the house online. He found an old article about a couple, the Thompsons, who once lived here. The article said their own son, John, had murdered them inside this house. During interrogation, John told the police, "The house made me do it." Matt laughed. "What nonsense," he muttered. But after hours of research, exhaustion took over. He poured himself a drink, sitting alone near that dark room, hiding from his wife. There were only 2 sips left in the bottle. He finished them and whispered to himself, "If only I had one more bottle." Suddenly, the lights flickered again. The power went off for a few seconds, and when the lights came back on, there it was, a full bottle of whiskey right in front of him. Matt's eyes widened. He touched it, and it was real. That's when he realized the room could grant wishes. The next morning, Nadia woke up. Matt was gone. She went downstairs and found him in that room, surrounded by expensive paintings and luxurious things. He looked thrilled. "Nadia," he said, "this room can grant any wish you make. Anything you want, just wish for it, and it appears." Nadia laughed. "Are you serious? That's impossible." Matt smiled. "Just try it." "Fine," she said jokingly. "I wish I had a job." Matt stopped her. "No, the room can't give you a job. It only creates things. Wish for something else." So Nadia closed her eyes and said, "Okay, I wish for $1,000. And within seconds, $1,000 appeared right in front of them. Still not believing it, she said, "All right then, I wish for $1 million. And just like that, 1 million appeared out of thin air. Now Nadia was convinced this wasn't an ordinary room. It could grant any desire. And from that moment on, the couple began asking for everything they ever dreamed of. Expensive wine, luxury clothes, diamonds, gold, food, and piles of cash. In just one night, they became millionaires. Their lives turned into a fantasy. Every wish they made came true. One night, Nadia asked Matt, "How does this room even make all this possible?" Matt replied, "We shouldn't question it. Let's just enjoy it." And for the next several days, they lived like billionaires. Every time they made a wish, the lights flickered and their desires appeared. Right there, in that basement, every wish they made in that room came true instantly. They danced, they celebrated, they lived like royalty. But what they didn't know was that their glamorous life was about to end. Their happy days were numbered. The room could give them anything they wanted, except for the one thing they truly desired the most: a child. One day, Matt surprised Nadia with a baby cradle. It was his way of saying, "Let's try again." But Nadia refused. She'd already suffered 2 miscarriages before. She didn't want to go through that pain again. That night, torn and heartbroken, Nadia stood before the mysterious room. After a long moment of hesitation, she made a wish for a child. And just like that, she got one. When Matt walked in and saw Nadia holding the baby, he was shocked and furious. He yelled at her, "You shouldn't have done this without asking me." An argument broke out between them. Nadia cried, "I just wanted to skip the pain, the miscarriages, the suffering. We can finally be happy now." But Matt wasn't ready to accept the child. He told her, "You have to go back to that room," and wished the baby away. Tears filled her eyes. But Nadia went to the room again, trying to make the baby vanish. But she couldn't do it. She walked back, handed the baby to Matt, and even he couldn't bring himself to say the words. He looked at the baby and slowly handed him back to Nadia. Finally, they decided they would keep the child. They would raise him as their own. Nadia was overjoyed, but Matt didn't feel the same. Something about the baby didn't sit right with him. He wanted answers, so he started digging deeper into the history of the house. He soon found out that the boy, the one who had murdered his parents here, was still alive, living in a mental hospital. Matt pocketed some of the money he had wished for and went to meet him. At the hospital, a nurse asked, "Are you a reporter?" No one from his family has visited him in over 45 years. Matt lied. "Yes, I'm a reporter." Moments later, an old man entered the room. John. He looked frail, broken, but his eyes, they were sharp. He sat down and said, "I've been waiting for you." Matt froze. He asked directly, "What do you know about the room? And why did you kill your parents?" John smiled faintly. "I didn't kill them. The room did. It made me do it." Then, with a chilling calmness, he said, "I know what you're doing, Matt. The money, the food, the luxury, the fun. But soon, you'll have to pay the price. Leave that house before it's too late." Matt stared at him, unsure what to believe. He assumed John had completely lost his mind and left. On his way back, Matt stopped at a gas station. When he reached into his pocket to pay, instead of money, he pulled out ashes. His face went pale. He quickly took some bills from his other pocket and drove home in panic. "How's that possible?" he whispered. "I had stuffed my pockets full of cash." To test his fear, Matt grabbed a handful of the money he'd wished for and threw it out of the window. The bills vanished in midair, turning to dust. Next, he took a painting from the room. Half of it kept inside the house, half outside. Moments later, the half outside turned into ashes, while the other half remained perfectly fine. That's when Matt realized the horrifying truth. Anything they wished for from that room could never leave the house. The moment it did, it turned to dust. Panicking, Matt began breaking down the walls of the room, hoping to find what was behind it all. But inside, he found nothing. Nothing but a web of old, tangled wires. The sound of his hammering brought Nadia running in. Holding the baby in her arms, she tried to leave the house. But Matt stopped her. He couldn't tell her the truth, that if she took the baby outside, it would die. Still, Nadia ignored him. She stepped out with the child. The moment she crossed the door, the baby started crying, screaming in pain, his skin turning pale, then gray. Nadia screamed for help. Matt rushed out, grabbed them both, and dragged them back inside. As soon as they crossed the doorway, the crying stopped. But when they looked at the baby, he wasn't a baby anymore. In just seconds, he had turned into an 8-year-old boy. Shocked, Matt finally confessed everything. "The room gives us whatever we wish for, but we can never take those things outside. They'll age, decay, and turn to dust." Nadia was heartbroken, so they decided they would keep the boy locked inside. He would never leave the house, otherwise he would die. Days passed. Nadia began treating the boy like her real son. Inside the house, Nadia begins teaching the child everything, just like a real mother would. She names him Shane. But Shane was not like other kids. He never listened. Nothing seemed to affect him. His behavior was strange, almost unnatural. While other kids loved candy, Shane loved eating ice. Just ice. Yet, despite all this, Nadia loved him deeply, as if he were her own blood. She would tell him, "You can't go outside, Shane. It's dangerous out there. There are bad people who'll hurt you." Hearing this, Shane would get sad. He'd spend hours staring out the windows, trying to catch a glimpse of the world he wasn't allowed to see. Whenever Nadia left the house, she locked the doors, making sure Shane could never step outside. One day, while Shane was playing with a snow globe, Matt walked in. Matt never liked Shane. He scolded him. "You're not supposed to play here." Scared, Shane dropped the snow globe. It shattered into pieces. He looked terrified and heartbroken. That night, Shane crept quietly near their bedroom door, listening to Matt and Nadia talk about the room. He overheard enough to know there was something mysterious they were hiding from him. So, with a flashlight in his hand, Shane began exploring the house. Step by step, he moved deeper until he reached the basement. Wires, so many tangled wires, and at the end of them, the room. That night, lights all over the house kept flickering, but Matt and Nadia, deep asleep, noticed nothing. Next morning, when Matt woke up, he saw something strange, a brand new snow globe beside him. And a few feet away, the broken one. How is that possible? He ran to Nadia, woke her up. "Did you wish for this? Did you use the room again?" Nadia shook her head. "No, I didn't." Just then, the lights started flickering again. Matt's face turned pale. He knew what that meant. "It's Shane." They both rushed toward the room and froze. Shane had used the room himself. Because he wasn't allowed to go outside, he wished for an outdoor world inside the house, a giant open forest under a blue sky. Shane was running, laughing, playing. Nadia smiled through tears, happy to see her son free at last. But Matt wasn't. He looked terrified. "What if he wishes for something dangerous?" he whispered. "A gun? Or worse?" He grabbed Shane's hand and pulled him back inside. He locked the room's key with himself, forbidding Shane from ever going there again. Nadia stopped him. Matt, please, he's just a child. He built his own world because we never let him outside. At least let him have this. He's safe there. But Matt didn't listen. He's too young. He doesn't understand what that room can do. Just then, the phone rang. Before Matt could say anything, Shane picked up the call. Matt quickly took the phone from him, and on the other end was John, the same man from the mental hospital. He had heard Shane's voice and immediately knew Matt had wished for a child. John said, "You've made the same mistake I did. I too once wished for a child." As they talked, Nadia picked up the second phone in the kitchen, listening silently. John's voice grew darker. "I wasn't born. I was wished into existence. I killed my parents because I wanted to see the outside world. But the moment I stepped out, I began aging fast. When I asked the room why, it told me the only way to survive outside is to kill the one who wished you into existence. So I killed her, and her husband too." John's tone cracked with pain. "Now I'm in prison, and that child of yours, Shane, he's just like me. If you want to free him, if you want him to see the real world, then someone must die. If you wished for him, you'll have to die. But if your wife did, then you'll have to kill her." Nadia's eyes filled with tears as she heard every word. She quietly grabbed her car keys and left the house. Matt panicked when he realized she was gone. Nadia, broken inside, thought of ending her life to save Shane, but she couldn't do it. Meanwhile, Matt sat down at the dinner table with Shane. Shane asked softly, "Where's Mom? Why hasn't she come back?" Question after question. Matt lost his temper. He shouted, "You're not even real. You're not our son." Tears rolled down Shane's face. Matt stormed off, throwing him out of the room. Shane ran upstairs, crying. Moments later, guilt consumed Matt. He went to Shane's room, held him close, and whispered, "I'm sorry, son." That night, they slept together. When Nadia returned home and saw them, father and son finally asleep in peace, she smiled through her tears. Moments later, Matt wakes up and sees that Nadia has come back home. Matt tells her, "I was so worried about you." He apologizes, saying, "I'm sorry for yelling at Shane and for fighting with you." As they talk, the two start getting close again. And when they become intimate in their room, Shane secretly watches them through the door. He feels an attraction toward Nadia, and now he wants to experience the same. So he waits until they both fall asleep. When the couple is deep asleep, Shane quietly sneaks in and steals the key from Matt's pocket. The next morning, Matt and Nadia notice the front door is open and realize Shane must have gone outside. They fear he might be dead. But then, in another part of the house, they find Shane, and he's no longer a child. He's young and strong now. Shane points a gun at his parents and threatens them. Nadia tries to calm him down, but suddenly Matt attacks him, and the two start fighting. During the fight, Nadia is pushed and falls unconscious. A while later, Matt wakes her up and tells her, "It was an accident. Shane got shot, and he's dead." Nadia breaks down crying. Matt comforts her and takes her back inside. But here comes the biggest twist. The man who just brought Nadia back wasn't Matt, it was Shane. The real Matt wakes up in another room, searching the whole house for his wife. Seeing the lights flicker again, he follows them to the mysterious room, but Nadia isn't there. Meanwhile, Nadia has no idea that the man sitting beside her isn't Matt, but Shane in Matt's form. Soon, Nadia starts noticing strange changes in him. His habit of eating ice gives it away. This isn't Matt, it's Shane. Shane used the room to wish himself into Matt's body. Meanwhile, the real Matt realizes he's trapped inside the house, and Shane has shifted Nadia into another house through the room. Matt starts smashing the walls with all his strength, and finally breaks through all the wires, reaching the mysterious room again. But now, that room looks like a forest, filled with tall trees everywhere. Matt realizes Shane has used the room to expand this place, and even built a duplicate version of their house here. He understands Shane's evil plan to kidnap Nadia and live with her alone in this fake world. Furious, Matt runs through the forest and finally reaches the duplicate house. Inside, Shane is forcing himself on Nadia. Seeing Matt, Shane prepares to fight again. Now Nadia can't tell who the real Matt is. Both look exactly the same. Both shout, "Come with me, Nadia!" But Nadia cleverly calls out Shane's name, and as soon as he reacts, she realizes who the real Matt is. She pushes Shane to the ground, and instantly he returns to his real form. Matt and Nadia try to escape the room, but they can't, because Shane had wished that they'd never leave this house. No matter how hard they try, they can't get out. Matt stops for a moment, thinking deeply. Then he wishes, "Let our new form stay inside this house, and let our real selves go free." Suddenly, Shane appears again and stabs Matt with a knife. Then he tries to convince Nadia, "Forget Matt, stay with me." But in that moment, he realizes something shocking. The Matt and Nadia in front of him are actually clones. The real Matt and Nadia have already escaped, running through the forest outside. Furious, Shane chases after them. The real couple reaches the original house. Shane storms in and attacks Matt again. But this time, Matt grabs Shane tightly and drags him out of the house. Shane, desperate to survive, runs back toward the door. But before he can get inside, Nadia shuts the door. Shane pleads, "Please, Mom, open the door." But Nadia now knows the truth. She watches as Shane grows older and weaker, his body decaying, until he finally turns into ash. Nadia cries, picking up his ashes with her hands, because no matter what, she once saw him as her son. Matt comes and hugs her tightly. A few months later, we see them living peacefully in a small home. But one day Nadia takes a pregnancy test and it comes out positive. Yes, now they're going to have a baby of their own. And with that, the story ends. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe and give it a like.